Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. On this occasion, we're once again going to discuss several leaks that I've managed to find, and honestly, they're pretty interesting to talk about. As usual, all of this information comes from sources that are considered fairly credible. But before we get into the discussion, running out of stellar jade and Honkai starrail? Don't worry, there's a more budget-friendly solution. Now you can top up in-game safely, quickly, and at a lower price through U7 Buy. And it's not just Honkai starrail, other games are available too, all in one place. Still not sure? No problem. You can check U7 Buy's reviews directly on Trustpilot, so it's transparent and trustworthy. For comparison, 80 oniric shards cost around $100 in the official store, but on U7 Buy, it's much cheaper. The process is also instant. Just select your server, enter your UID, and the balance is delivered straight to your account, no hassle. Don't forget to use code BOOM for a 5% discount. Click the link in my description or pinned comment to visit U7 Buy. Alright, now let's move on to the main topic. Previously, we discussed the possibility of a new sustain character arriving in several upcoming patches, while also briefly touching on Fate COLLAB Part 2. Well, this time, we're going to talk about Fate COLLAB Part 2 in much greater detail, because apparently there have been some significant new developments that are too interesting to ignore. As usual, all of this information comes from fairly credible sources. So without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into the discussion. In the previous video, I mentioned that maybe we should all start lowering our expectations regarding the possibility of Fate COLLAB Part 2 coming to Honkai starrail. The reason was pretty clear and understandable. Up until now, there still hasn't been any official information from Hoyoverse regarding the collaboration. What's even more surprising is that when Hoyoverse held their online concert a few days ago, which honestly would have been the perfect moment to at least tease or hint at the collaboration, there was absolutely no information related to Fate COLLAB Part 2 revealed at all. The complete absence of information during such a strategic moment naturally became one of the main reasons why many of us started lowering our expectations. However, the situation has suddenly become quite surprising. Because just a few hours ago, we unexpectedly received newer and more detailed information regarding Fate COLLAB Part 2. With these new developments, perhaps there is still hope that Fate COLLAB Part 2 is actually going to happen after all, and maybe the reason Hoyoverse still hasn't officially revealed it is because they intentionally want to surprise the player base. Alright, the main source for today's discussion is Galaxy Leaks. However, it's important to note that the original source of this information actually comes from an anonymous source, which was later reposted by Galaxy Leaks in one of their posts. Since the original source is anonymous, I highly recommend that you don't immediately trust this information completely. Even so, the fact that Galaxy Leaks decided to repost it is still something worth paying attention to. In addition, it's also important to remember that Galaxy Leaks themselves labeled the post as questionable, which means even they are not fully convinced about the accuracy of this information. So I think you can already guess how carefully we should approach leaks like this. So, according to the post, there was fairly specific information regarding the paths of the two COLLAB characters whose names we've been hearing quite frequently lately, namely Rin and Gilgamesh. According to the anonymous source, Gilgamesh is said to be a character who follows the destruction path. Meanwhile, Rin is said to follow a different path, namely erudition. If we think about it a little more deeply, this information actually makes quite a lot of sense and has a fairly solid foundation behind it. As we already discussed in previous videos, Beta 4.3 introduced two new trace materials, one for destruction characters and one for erudition characters. If Gilgamesh truly follows the destruction path and Rin follows erudition, then both of them would directly use those two new trace materials. In addition to that, considering that a new quantum ascension material also appeared in Beta 4.3, There's a possibility that either Rin or Gilgamesh could also end up being a quantum element character. What makes this information even more interesting is the fact that this isn't actually the first time we've heard something like this. In a previous video, we talked about information from Rin Gilgamesh leaks, where they mentioned that the two new materials, destruction and quantum, were most likely intended for Fate collaboration characters, specifically Rin or Gilgamesh. Although at that time the exact details regarding which character would get which path were still unclear, at the very least, the information from Rin Gilgamesh aligns with what is now being shared by the anonymous source through Galaxy Leaks. The existence of two separate sources pointing toward a similar conclusion naturally increases the credibility of this information, at least to some extent. Aside from the anonymous information reposted by Galaxy Leaks, there's also another additional piece of information that is equally interesting and most likely closely related to today's topic. This information comes from Seal Leaks. So, Seal Leaks shared a post containing a statement from a test group admin saying that version 4.4 is supposedly going to be a big version. That statement was then followed by a very interesting question. Could it be that we're getting the collab in that version? If we combine this information with all the previous leaks we've discussed so far, then there are fairly strong indications suggesting that Fate Collab Part 2 might indeed begin in version 4.4. This becomes even more believable considering that version 4.4 is already expected to be one of the major patches, especially since it will supposedly feature Himiko SP as one of the main push characters. A character that many players have been waiting for quite a long time. A major version update would definitely feel even more complete and exciting if it were accompanied by a big event or perhaps a major collaboration. Interestingly enough, this information also lines up with what Rin Gilgamesh previously mentioned. In one of their posts, Rin Gilgamesh stated that Himiko SP would be released in version 4.4 and would supposedly be accompanied by Rin and Gilgamesh as collaboration characters. However, the biggest question mark right now is the fact that we are already in the middle of version 4.2, and in just a few more days we'll be entering Phase 2. Yet until this very moment, Hoyoverse still hasn't provided any official information whatsoever regarding Fate Collab Part 2. Does this mean Hoyoverse is intentionally hiding the information as part of a strategy to surprise players later on? Or does the complete absence of official information actually indicate that the collaboration simply isn't happening anytime soon? That's a question we obviously can't answer with certainty right now. Personally, I've already lowered my expectations regarding the possibility of Fate Collab Part 2 happening in the near future. At the same time, I definitely wouldn't mind being excited and pleasantly surprised if the collaboration actually turns out to be real in the end. Even so, we still need to remember that the primary source of this information is anonymous, which means the credibility level is still questionable and should absolutely be approached with caution. Alright, that's all for now, everyone. So, what do you guys think about today's discussion? Do you think Fate Collab Part 2 will actually happen in version 4.4? Or do you think there won't be a Fate collaboration continuation at all? Feel free to share your opinions, thoughts, and speculations in the comment section below. Don't forget to share this information with your friends who also play Honkai Star Rail. And make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any other important updates. See you in the next update.